Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
South Dakota tribal and federal authorities are investigating a weekend homicide on the Pine Ridge Reservation. It happened early Saturday morning in Pine Ridge.
The Oglala Sioux Tribe Department of Public Safety has named Trent L. Brewer as a person of interest in the homicide. Investigators say Brewer should be considered armed and dangerous and are telling the public not to approach him and instead call your local police, Oglala Sioux tribal authorities, or the FBI if you know where he is. The Spink County Sheriff's Department is asking for the public's help in finding a person of interest. Officials say Nathaniel Stevenson was last known to be walking around in Redfield with possible little clothing, face and arm tattoos, and dreadlocks.
The sheriff's office is attempting to locate Stevenson in connection with an incident from Sunday afternoon in Redfield. Authorities say there's no known threat to the public at this time, but if you have any information, you're asked to contact the Spink County Sheriff's Department. We're hoping to learn more about an incident in Yankton over the weekend. Police say a body was found in the pond area of Westside Park just before noon Sunday. Officials ask that people stay out of the area until the investigation is complete.
Now, this morning, a sergeant with the Yankton Police Department told us that the body found was a male. This is a developing story, so stay with KELOLAND News, both on air and online, for updates as they become available.
Now let's send it over to meteorologist Scott Munt. Another round of winter weather on the way, Scott.
Oh, yes. Heavy snow, western, central, north central, northeastern South Dakota. Blizzard warnings will eventually go into effect. Western KELOLAND later this evening. For tomorrow, central to northeastern KELOLAND, we are looking at snowfall amounts of, well, at least a foot. Western, central to northeastern KELOLAND. And on the onset of things, we may have periods of freezing drizzle or freezing rain. This takes us through tomorrow afternoon. You can see we have numerous blizzard warnings. First across western South Dakota this evening into Wednesday, central into north central and northeastern KELOLAND. They go into effect tomorrow and last through Wednesday. Our forecast for today, we are looking at temperatures cooler than yesterday, 30s and 40s in many locations. More details on the KELOLAND Live Doppler forecast with Brian coming up.
All right, thank you very much, Scott. Lincoln County authorities have arrested the driver involved in a pursuit.
The Sheriff's Department tells us the pursuit began just after 2 o'clock Sunday morning in the Harrisburg area and ended about a half hour later in Sioux Falls. Authorities say they've confirmed the vehicle the suspect was driving was stolen, but no one was hurt during the pursuit. The Moody County Sheriff's Office says 3 suspects were arrested after a traffic stop led to a drug bust over the weekend. Authorities say a deputy and canine stopped the car on Saturday.
They posted these pictures of the bust to Facebook. Over $500 in cash, a gun, and more than 75 rounds of ammunition, and nearly 50 pills, meth, marijuana, and other items were found. Investigators in Aberdeen are looking into what caused a downtown building to collapse over the weekend. Aberdeen Fire Rescue says it happened around 11 o'clock Friday night in the 100 block of South Main Street. Crews arriving on the scene found a 3-story building collapsed with a large amount of debris scattered about.
Some nearby buildings were also damaged. Officials posted this picture of the scene to Facebook. A fire was also found at the back of the building. Crews were able to stop it from spreading. No injuries were reported. A Tiny Homes for Veterans project in Sioux Falls was open to the public yesterday. The Veterans Community Project broke ground last June, and the first 5 homes are nearing completion.
Now, when completed, there will be 25 total homes and some other buildings as part of the village. The homes are for veterans who are homeless or at risk of being homeless.
Just to give them a little piece of dignity, which I think this project is just, it's going to do more than that, and it's going to build a community for them to work together on whatever they might need to work on. So it's just overall just a great project.
They hope to move veterans into the first 5 homes by mid-June. They plan to have the entire village of 25 houses done by the end of 2024. The local athletes who play spring sports have been anxiously waiting for the snow to go away and warm weather to arrive so they can start their seasons.
Athletes and coaches at Dakota Alliance Soccer Club wish to be outdoors, but for now they're practicing indoors and playing at Sanford Fieldhouse. Last year, their season started the week before Easter, but in previous years, it was March that was the typical start time.
Be patient it will melt, but it does take time, and it does take time to get fields set up. So just because you can drive out and see that the fields are clear does not quite mean that they're ready to be on. But be patient, we're getting there.
Players say even though the weather's been keeping them indoors, it's still important to practice as much as possible so they'll be ready for the start of the outdoor season.
And that is a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, patience it is. That seems to be one word to describe this pattern. But we are going to get there at the end of the week. Better news. Let's go through Futurecast. We'll start today. Not too bad of a day, really, for Sioux Falls in the southeast. We'll have a mixed bag of mid-40s to around 50-degree weather. The far southwest is picking up some snow around Hot Springs. So far, it's kind of a slushy coating there. Custer, Pine Ridge also in that talk, but this is kind of just the first little introductory piece in the southwest. We expect that these snow returns will pick up in intensity tonight. Blizzard warnings will start past the dinner hour. Again, there's varying timelines as you work your way out toward Pierre. Pierre is really more tomorrow, but even late tonight, there's snow on radar, and certainly we've got some winds that are picking up. So I would even say first thing tomorrow morning, the weather's not great, and today would really be the day to kind of finish up some of those plans to get ready to go for this storm. Obviously, it's going to affect a lot of folks in the ranch areas, and it's always hard on cattle and calving season when we're dealing with all these winds and that cold, heavy, wet snow. Just not at all a pretty picture. But I do expect that this storm is the last in this series. So let's go through the rest of the day tomorrow. There's 12 o'clock. Now, in Sioux Falls, we're expecting rain showers. There could be, preceding that, a little bit of freezing drizzle late tonight. The freezing drizzle or even freezing rain talk is probably most prevalent a little north and west of Sioux Falls, kind of in that transition zone where we're not necessarily looking at anything heavy right away, but Mitchell up to Woonsocket, up to maybe Arlington and Clear Lake, there's some freezing drizzle in there. In Watertown, I'm most concerned about icing tomorrow afternoon. We could get into a moderate period of glazing with 30 and a stiff northeast wind. It's just a perfect recipe for a few to get some ice again. It could be the same areas that just went through it here late last week. Meanwhile, front side of the storm, there's going to be another tornado outbreak in Iowa tomorrow. 65 in Sioux City. Gets us thinking about maybe a thunderstorm tomorrow evening. Maybe Sioux Falls might get a clap of thunder. We'll see how interesting this weather map gets late tomorrow evening. Your blizzard in Rapid and Pierre continues into early Wednesday morning. I think Wednesday actually is a plain windy day, and we've got either snow that's going to blow around, the snow that's coming is going to blow around, so that's recycled snow. But even Sioux Falls could get into blustery snow squall type weather, not necessarily heavy snow, but with all that wind, that's a concern, and I think there'll be inclement weather right through Wednesday night. Here's a look at our expected wind forecast. Today is fine. Nothing big there. Tomorrow morning, well, here we go. Into the afternoon, it's already 20 to 35 and probably gusting a little higher late in the day in central South Dakota, obviously with blizzard conditions developing. But look at Wednesday. Wednesday's the big howling wind day. It's 30 to 60 miles an hour pretty much across the board there. And that's a tough day of weather with wind and snow on the ground. So please stay advised of the forecast. There's your snow prediction again, 12 plus. Pierre, Aberdeen, Rapid City, kind of in the middle of that belt. Sioux Falls, we'll miss that. We're not going to get that kind of weather. And the plus side of this, Friday and Saturday, 60-degree weather will be teasing Sioux Falls for the first time this season. I might even dare say 70 or better, somewhere between Sioux Falls and Sioux City. How about that? Well, on that note, we'll end it with our 7-day forecast. So we do have officially on the map Sioux Falls near 60 by the weekend. That's going to feel great, and I know many of you are looking forward to that, as am I. The Aberdeen forecast, let's not get carried away just yet on temperatures. We've got a lot of snow to melt. And frankly, with this warmer weather coming in, it's going to lead to the discussion of local flooding. And I know that James River is going to have problems eventually. It's going to be kind of an unfolding process in the 7 to 10-day window. Pierre also looking at melting snow later in the week. It's going to keep those temperatures down through the 30s to kick off the weekend. But it's, early to mid-April. We can start warming faster. It's not going to take long to get rid of this stuff, and that'll happen in Rapid City, too. Stay alert to the weather. More coverage, of course, through the day and online at KELOLAND.com.